Hi, I'm Kelly with Ironwood Custom Builders, and today I want to talk a little bit about construction contracts. Now, generally there are two types of construction contracts. The first being the fixed price contract, and the second being a cost plus. Now, of course, there are pros and cons to both of those, and most contracts are either distinctly one or the other, or a combination of the two, or some sort of variation of the two. Now, the first type of construction contract is the cost plus. And basically how a cost plus works is that the contractor and the client come to an agreement on what an approximate cost is going to be to complete the project. In addition to that approximate cost, the client will pay to the contractor the plus part, the contractor's percentage of markup, and that percentage of markup is generally somewhere between 10 and 20%. The pros to a cost plus contract are that if there happens to be any savings, if the project happens to come in under budget, then that would be to the benefit of the client, because the client is only paying the actual cost of construction plus the contractor's percentage of markup. Conversely, the cons to a cost plus are that there's very little, if any, accountability whatsoever, and the contractor doesn't have really any incentive to keep costs in check. So if the project goes over the estimated cost, then that responsibility falls on the shoulders of the client. And it's for that reason that I typically try to avoid cost plus types of contracts. Too often it ends up making for a bad situation, and most contractors need their clients for references in the future, and there's nothing that makes a client unhappier than costs going over what the anticipated budget was. So the other type of construction contract, as I mentioned, is the fixed price. And basically the way a fixed price contract works is the client and the contractor come to an agreement on what the cost of the project is going to be, and that price is fixed. It does not change except for in a couple different scenarios. The first being anything that's subsurface. And what I mean by that is either in construction of a new residence or an addition, there could be either rock, plant material, or even debris that is underground that the contractor would obviously not be aware of until the excavation actually started. So if any of those things are encountered and they cause an increase in the cost, those would be added to the fixed price amount of the contract. Another instance where the contract price could change would be when and where the client would make changes to the project. Oftentimes, once you get into the project, the client will come across things that perhaps they didn't think about or did not anticipate during the design phase. And those things could be maybe moving a wall, or adding doors or windows, or moving doors or windows. Those types of things will also cause an increase in cost. Obviously, those are the responsibility of the client as well. So the pros to a fixed price contract are, one, when the client goes into the project, they have the comfort and security of knowing that the price of the project is not going to change except for in those scenarios that I just described. The cons to a fixed price contract, and I don't really consider them to be a con, but really the only con to a fixed price contract is that if there does end up being any cost savings, such as the project coming in under budget, that would be to the benefit of the contractor, since he is the one taking on all of the responsibility financially for the project. Conversely, for the client, if the project goes over budget, then that falls on the shoulders of the contractor, and so the client doesn't need to worry about that. So the next time you engage the services of a contractor, there are a couple things that you just need to keep in mind when you get to the contract phase or signing the contract. The first thing is to make sure that all of the work being done is detailed, and I mean explicitly detailed. It's very important for the client to understand exactly what it is they are getting. The second part is that the cost associated with all of the work being done needs to be very explicit. And lastly, the last real key component to a construction contract is making sure that how the unknowns are going to be dealt with is spelled out in the contract. There are always going to be things once a project starts that either the homeowner and or the contractor could not have anticipated. And it needs to be spelled out in the contract how those issues are going to be dealt with when they are encountered. It may be decided that they will be the responsibility of the homeowner. It may be decided that they will be the responsibility of the contractor. However it ends up being decided upon, it needs to be decided upon in advance and detailed out in the contract. So if you keep those few things in mind the next time you engage in either a home building or a home remodeling project, you should get off on the right foot. Again, I'm Kelly Anderson with Ironwood Custom Builders. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.